The rain hammers against the floor-to-ceiling windows of the 42nd floor. But Victoria Ashworth doesn't flinch. She stands silhouetted against the storm, her champagne flute untouched, watching the city blur beneath sheets of water. At 52, she commands attention without asking for it, silver threading through her dark hair like precious metal, her black dress fitting like armor made of silk. You're staring. I don't deny it. Can't. From across her penthouse office, I've been watching the way she holds herself, the way she breathes, like she's calculating the oxygen cost of each inhale. You intrigue me, Mrs. Ashworth. I set down my scotch and step closer, the Persian rug muffling my approach. Most CEOs would have had security escort me out by now. She turns, finally, green. Eyes meet mine, not emerald, something deeper. Forest after rain. Most men wouldn't have walked into my building and demanded a meeting without an appointment. I'm not most men. A smile ghosts across her lips. No, you're the 34-year-old wonderkind trying to steal my telecommunications contracts. She moves to her desk, each step deliberate. Tell me, Mr. Cross, what makes you think you can succeed where others have failed? The question hangs between us. Loaded. She's not talking about business anymore. Neither am I. Experience, I say, watching her fingers trace the edge of her desk. I know what I want. I don't apologize for taking it. And what is it you want, exactly? The storm chooses that moment to unleash thunder that rattles the windows. In the brief darkness that follows the lightning, I see her differently, not the ice queen of telecommunications, not the woman who rebuilt her late husband's empire into something twice as powerful. I see the way her pulse flutters at her throat, the way she leans almost imperceptibly forward. You know what I want. My voice drops, intimate despite the vast office between us. She circles the desk slowly, predatory grace in every movement. Do I? Her fingers brush a contract, my contract, the one that could shift the balance of power between our companies. Because from where I stand, you look like a boy playing at a man's game. The insult should sting. Instead, it sends heat racing through my veins. I've been playing this game longer than you think, have you? She's close enough now that I can smell her perfumed jasmine and something darker, more complex. Because I've been watching you, Ethan Cross, following your acquisitions, your preferences. My breath catches. She knows, somehow, she knows about the others, the powerful women who've shared my bed, my fascination with experience over youth, with minds that match my own ambition. And what have you concluded from your research? Her laugh is low, dangerous. That you're exactly the kind of man I should stay away from. She's so close now I can see the faint lines around her eyes, proof of years spent building an empire. They make her more beautiful, not less, the kind who mistakes predators for prey. Maybe I'm not the one making the mistake. She stills. For a heartbeat, the mask slips, and I see something vulnerable underneath, surprised, maybe even pleased. Then it's gone, replaced by that calculating smile. Mr. Cross. She picks up the contract, holds it between us like a shield. You came here to discuss the Morrison account, shall we? But she doesn't move away. If anything, she's closer, the paper barely brushing my chest. I can feel the warmth radiating from her skin, hear the slight hitch in her breathing. Victoria. I let her name roll off my tongue, test its weight. May I call you Victoria? You may call me Mrs. Ashworth, but there's no ice in her voice anymore, at least for now. The promise in those last words hits me like lightning. She steps back, creating distance that feels like loss, and extends the contract toward me. Take it. She says softly, read the terms. Think carefully about what you're willing to risk. I accept the papers, let my fingers brush hers. The contact lasts a second too long, sends electricity racing up my arm. I already know what I'm willing to risk. I tell her, do you? She moves to the window again, presents me with the elegant line of her back. Because I have a feeling, Mr. Cross, that you have no idea what you're getting yourself into. 3 days later, she calls, the Meridian Club. Tonight, 8 o'clock. The line goes dead before I can respond, but I'm already reaching for my keys. The Meridian Club, private, exclusive, the kind of place where deals worth billions are made. Over cigars and aged whiskey, where powerful people go to see and be seen. That I find her in the library. tucked into a leather wingback chair that makes her look like a queen holding court. She's changed from her business armor into something softer, a burgundy silk blouse that catches the firelight, dark jeans that hug her curves, casual. But nothing about Victoria Ashworth is ever truly casual. Punctual, she observes without looking up from her book. I appreciate that in a man. What are we doing here, Victoria? Now she looks up. We're having a drink, discussing literature. She closes the book, something by Ananin, of course, and sets it aside. Getting to know each other outside the boardroom. And why would we do that? She stands, moves to the private bar in the corner. Because you fascinate me, Ethan. My name sounds different in her voice, richer, more intimate. Because I've spent 3 days trying to figure out your angle, and I still can't. Maybe there isn't one. She laughs, a sound like expensive wine being poured. Oh, there's always an angle. The question is whether it's business. She hands me a scotch, neat, exactly how I like it. Or personal. What if it's both? Then we're in dangerous territory. She settles back into her chair, curling her legs beneath her with feline grace. Tell me about the others. What others? The older women. Don't play coy, Ethan. It doesn't suit you. She sips her wine, watching me over the rim. Melissa Hartford from the banking consortium. Senator Clark. The pharmaceutical heiress, what was her name? Patricia something. Heat flashes through me, part arousal, part something darker. You've been busy. I always research my competition. The word hangs between us, loaded with possibility. What is it about us, I wonder? The appeal of experience, of power. Maybe I like a challenge. Or maybe, she leans forward, voice dropping to a whisper, you like being challenged. The fire crackles in the silence that follows. Round us, the club's other patrons murmur in low voices. But we might as well be alone in the world. You think, you know me, I say finally. I think you want me to know you. She uncurls from the chair, moves closer. I think you walked into my office 3 days ago not just to steal my clients, but to steal something else entirely. And what would that be? She stops inches from my chair, close enough that I have to tilt my head back to meet her eyes. My attention, my curiosity. Her fingers brush the back of my hand where it rests on the chair arm. My interest, the touch is electric, sends heat racing up my arm and straight to my core. But she pulls away before I can respond, before I can capture her hand with mine. The Morrison account, she says, suddenly businesslike again. You really think you can handle it better than my team? The abrupt shift leaves me reeling. I know I can. Confidence. I like that. She returns to her chair, but the distance feels calculated now, like she's testing my restraint. What would you say to a partnership? Between our companies, between us. The words drop like stones into still water, creating ripples. Joint custody of Morrison, split the profits. What's the catch? Her smile is pure temptation. Who says there's a catch? There's always a catch with women like you, women like me. The temperature drops 10 degrees. Enlighten me. I lean forward, closing some of the distance between us. Brilliant, ruthless, used to getting exactly what you want when you want it. And you find that threatening. I find it irresistible. She inhales sharply, the sound barely audible over the crackling fire. For a moment, her composure cracks, and I see the woman beneath. The CEO, hungry, lonely, alive with possibility. Ethan, my name is a warning, a question, a plea. Victoria. She stands abruptly, smooths down her blouse with hands that aren't quite steady. I should go. This was illuminating, but she doesn't move. We stare at each other across the small space, tension crackling between us like static electricity before a storm. Don't, I say quietly. Don't what? Don't run. Not when we're finally getting somewhere. She laughs, but there's no humor in it. Where exactly do you think we're getting, Mr. Cross? I stand, close the distance between us into steps. She doesn't back away, doesn't flinch, just tilts her chin up in challenge. Somewhere dangerous, I admit. Somewhere that could ruin us both. Yes, the word is barely a breath. It could, and you're considering it anyway. I'm considering a lot of things. Her eyes drop to my mouth, linger there before snapping back, up. None of them wise. Before I can respond, before I can close the final inches between us. Her phone buzzes. The spell breaks. She steps back, checks the message, and her expression shifts into something cooler, more controlled. I have to go. Emergency board meeting. She gathers her purse, her composure, her distance. Think about my offer, Ethan. The partnership. Which partnership are we talking about? She pauses at the library door, looks back over her shoulder. That, she says with a smile that's pure sin, is what you need to figure out. The storm that's been threatening all week finally breaks. As I stand outside Victoria's penthouse building, the doorman recognizes me, waves me through without question. Apparently, I'm expected. The elevator to the 45th floor feels like an eternity. When the doors open, she's wearing black silk pajama pants and a matching camisole that makes my mouth go dry. Her hair falls loose around her shoulders, silver catching the lamplight like threads of moonbeam. You came, she says simply. You knew I would. I hoped. She steps aside to let me in, and I catch her scent jasmine and rain and something uniquely her. I wasn't sure. Her penthouse spreads before us, all clean lines and expensive art, but somehow it feels warm tonight. Candles flicker on surfaces. Wine breathes on the coffee table. Classical music plays softly from hidden speakers, something moody, French. This is different. I observe. The office is for business. She moves to the windows, where rain streaks the glass like tears. This is for other things. What other things? She doesn't answer immediately. Instead, she pours wine, a Burgundy that probably costs more than most people's rent, and hands me a glass. Her fingers linger on mine for a heartbeat longer than necessary. Tell me about your first, she says. My first what? Older woman. She settles onto the sofa, tucking her legs beneath her. The one who started all this, Victoria. Indulge me. I've shared my research. Now share your truth. I join her on the sofa, close enough to touch but carefully maintaining distance. Mrs. Patterson, my economics professor. I was 22 and she taught me that experience trumps enthusiasm, that there's nothing more intoxicating than a woman who knows exactly what she wants. Is that what you see when you look at me? A conquest, another notch in your very particular bedpost. The question cuts deeper than it should. No. Then what? I set down my wine, turned to face her fully. The candlelight plays across her features, makes her look younger and infinitely more dangerous. I see a woman who rebuilt an empire from ashes, who took her husband's struggling telecommunications company and turned it into a force that scares men twice her age. I reach out, almost touch her cheek, then let my hand fall. I see someone who's been alone at the top for so long she's forgotten what it feels like to let someone climb up beside her. Her breath catches. Ethan, I see someone who's tired of being untouchable. And you think you can touch me, but there's no challenge in her voice now, only curiosity. Hunger. I think you want me to try. She sets down her wine with trembling fingers. What I want is irrelevant. This is impossible. Why? Because you work for my biggest competitor. Because there's 20 years between us. Because you're scared. The words land like a slap. She stands abruptly, paces to the window. I don't get scared. Everyone gets scared. I follow her, stop just behind her, close enough to feel her warmth, to watch her reflection in the rain-streaked glass. The question is whether you let fear stop you from taking what you want. And what do I want? Ethan, since you seem to know me so well, you want to stop being careful. You want to remember what it feels like to want someone more than your next quarterly report. She spins to face me, eyes blazing. You arrogant. I capture her wrists gently, hold her still. You want to feel alive again. The fight goes out of her all at once. Her shoulders sag, and for the first time since I've known her, Victoria Ashworth looks fragile. I can't, she whispers. I can't afford to want things. People, it makes you weak. It makes you human. Same thing, in my world. I release her wrists, cup her face instead. Her skin is impossibly soft, warm beneath my palms. Then maybe it's time you found a new world. She closes her eyes, leans into my touch like she's starving for it. This will destroy us both. Maybe, or maybe it'll save us. She opens her eyes, and I see the moment she decides. The moment she stops fighting herself and starts fighting for what she wants instead. Ethan, she breathes. Victoria, she rises on her toes. closes the distance between us with agonizing slowness. Her lips brush mine soft, tentative, a question more than a statement. I let her set the pace, let her take control even as every instinct screams at me to deepen the kiss, to take more. But she pulls back before I can, rests her forehead against mine. I haven't done this in. She swallows hard. It's been a long time. We have time, do we? She searches my eyes, looking for something, reassurance, maybe, or absolution. When this gets out, and it will get out, it'll be war. My board, your investors, the media, they'll tear us apart. Let them try, she laughs. But there are tears on her lashes. You don't understand. I've worked too hard, sacrificed too much to let. I silence her with another kiss, deeper this time, more demanding. She melts into me, her body soft and pliant against mine, her hands fisting in my shirt like anchors in a storm. When we break apart, we're both breathing hard. Stay, she whispers against my lips. Tonight, just stay with me before I can answer, before I can promise her everything she's asking for and more. Her phone rings. The sound shatters the moment like glass. She pulls away, checks the display, and her expression hardens. I have to take this. Her voice is pure business again, but I can see the cost in her eyes. It's Tokyo. Victoria, you should go. She's already moving away, the distance between us growing with each step. This was a mistake, was it? She pauses at the threshold to her study, looks back at me with eyes full of regret and longing and fear. Ask me tomorrow, she says, and disappears behind the closing door. I don't wait for tomorrow. The next evening, I'm in her office again, but this time, I'm not alone. The Morrison contract lies signed on her desk, our company's names intertwined in elegant script. Joint custody, just like she proposed. But the real negotiation hasn't even begun. Bold move, showing up with lawyers, Victoria says, though her smile takes the sting out of the words. She's in her power suit again, charcoal gray with a silk blouse the color of champagne. Armor for whatever battle she thinks we're about to fight. I had to make sure you couldn't back out. I dismiss my legal team with a nod. Wait until we're alone before continuing. You have a habit of running when things get interesting. I don't run. I make strategic retreats. Same thing. She circles her desk, perches on the edge with feline grace. So what now? We're partners in business. What happens to everything else? You tell me. You're the one who decided last night was a mistake. Color flashes in her cheeks, anger or arousal. Maybe both. It was. It is. Do you have any idea what this partnership means? The scrutiny we'll be under? I know exactly what it means. I step closer, invade her carefully maintained personal space. It means we'll be working together, traveling together, attending board meetings and client dinners and industry galas side by side. Her breath hitches. Ethan, it means everyone. We'll be watching, waiting for a crack in our professional facades, looking for any sign that there's something more between us than profit margins and market share. There isn't, but her voice lacks conviction, and her eyes drop to my mouth like they did that first night at the club. Liar. I'm close enough now to see the pulse hammering at her throat, to smell her perfume mixed with something headier, desire, fear, the intoxicating cocktail of a woman on the edge of surrender. This can't happen, she whispers, but she doesn't move away. If anything, she leans closer, drawn by the same magnetic pull that's been torturing us both for weeks. It already is happening. My hands find her waist, settle on the silk of her blouse. She shudders at the contact, her fingers curling around the edge of her desk like she needs the anchor. You don't understand the position this puts me in. Her voice breaks slightly. A widow, chasing after a younger man. They'll say I've lost my mind. That grief has made me desperate. Let them say it. Easy for you to say. You're a man, a successful. Affair just adds to your mystique. For me, it's career suicide. Is that what this is? An affair? She stares at me, green eyes wide and vulnerable. I don't know what this is. Then let's find out. I cup her face, thumb tracing the elegant line of her cheekbone. She closes her eyes, leans into the touch with a soft sound that hits me like a physical blow. I can't lose control. She breathes. Not again. Not after what? After James died, I fell apart. For months I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't make decisions. The board almost voted me out. I swore I'd never let anyone have that kind of power over me again. Understanding floods through me not just of her fear, but of the incredible strength it took to rebuild herself from ruins. I'm not asking for power over you, Victoria. I'm asking for partnership, in every sense of the word. Her eyes flutter open, search my face for deception, for hidden agendas. Whatever she finds there must satisfy her, because the tension in her shoulders finally releases. Show me, she whispers. Show you what? Show me what partnership looks like. This time, when I kiss her, there's no hesitation. Her lips part under mine, welcoming me in with a hunger that matches my own. She tastes like wine and secrets, and the promise of everything I've been craving since the moment I walked into her office. Her hands tangle in my hair, holding me to her like she's afraid I'll disappear. The kiss deepens, becomes something desperate and consuming. Weeks of tension finally finding release. When we break apart, we're both shaking. Not here, she gasps against my lips. Not in the office. If someone sees, where? My car. I'll drive us to. No. I frame her face with my hands, force her to meet my eyes. No hiding. No sneaking around like teenagers. If we do this, we do it right. Ethan, you don't understand. I understand perfectly. You're Victoria Ashworth. You don't skulk in parking garages or rent hotel rooms under assumed names. You're better than that. We're better than that. Something shifts in her expression. Surprise. Maybe even relief. Were you suggesting? Your place? Wine, dinner, conversation. I brush a strand of silver hair from her cheek. Let me court you properly, Victoria. The way a woman like you deserves to be courted. Tears gather in her eyes, but she blinks them away before they can fall. And tomorrow, when the tabloids start speculating, when our stock prices fluctuate based on our dinner choices, tomorrow we face it together, as partners. She stares at me for a long moment, and I can practically see her weighing options, calculating risks, trying to find the angle that makes this make sense in her carefully ordered world. Finally, she nods. Dinner, but I choose the wine. Deal. She slides off the desk, smooths down her skirt with hands that almost steady. Almost. Give me an hour to get home. To prepare, Victoria. I catch her hand as she reaches for her purse. Are you sure? She turns back, and the woman looking at me isn't the ice queen of telecommunications or the grieving widow or the lonely woman at the top of her tower. She's just Victoria, beautiful, brilliant, brave enough to take a leap into the unknown. No, she says with a smile that takes my breath away, but I'm doing it anyway. The storm has passed, leaving the city gleaming under a canopy of stars. Victoria's penthouse feels different tonight, softer somehow, like she's finally allowed it to be a home. Instead of just another office, she's changed into a dress the color of midnight, something that flows like water when she moves. Her hair falls loose around her shoulders, and she's barefoot, a small detail that feels like an enormous gift. This glimpse of the private woman behind the public persona. You're staring again, she says, but there's no challenge in it now, only warmth. I'll probably never stop, she laughs, the sound like music in the quiet apartment. Dinner's ready. I hope you like risotto. You cooked. Don't sound so surprised. I had a life before boardrooms and quarterly reports. The dining room table is set for two, candles flickering between us like tiny stars. The wine, a Barolo that costs more than my monthly rent, breathes in crystal glasses. But it's the woman across from me who takes my breath away. Tell me about before, I say after we've settled into the rhythm of dinner conversation. Before the empire, before the widow's weeds. Her smile turns wistful. I was nobody special, a mid-level marketing executive at James's company. He was this larger-than-life figure, 20 years older, intimidatingly brilliant. I never thought he'd notice me, but he did. She sips her wine, remembering. We worked late one night, and he asked if I wanted to get coffee. Just coffee. 5 years later, we were married. Did you love him? The question hangs between us, weighted with significance. She considers it carefully, the way she considers everything. I loved the life we built together, the safety of it, the predictability. She meets my eyes across the candlelight. But it wasn't this feeling like I might spontaneously combust if you don't touch me soon. The admission hits me like lightning. I set down my fork, reach across the table to capture her hand. her fingers intertwine with mine, holding tight. Victoria, I know what this looks like from the outside. The desperate widow, grasping at youth, trying to recapture something she never had in the first place. Her voice wavers slightly. But when I'm with you, I don't feel desperate. I feel alive. Good. Because that's all I want to make you. Feel alive, even if it costs us everything. Especially then. She pulls her hand free, stands abruptly. For a moment, I think she's going to run again, retreat behind her walls of propriety and fear. Instead, she moves around the table, stops beside my chair. Dance with me. There's no music. There's always music. She extends her hand, waiting. I take it. Let her lead me to the living room where moonlight streams through the floor-to-ceiling windows. She fits perfectly in my arms, her head tucked against my shoulder, our bodies swaying to a rhythm only we can hear. I haven't danced in years, she murmurs against my chest. You haven't forgotten how? No, I haven't forgotten a lot of things, it turns out. She pulls back to look at me, her face luminous in the silvery light. Like how it feels to want someone so much it hurts. Victoria, I'm tired of being careful, Ethan. Tired of measuring every word, every gesture, every breath against what it might cost me. Her hands frame my face, fingers trembling slightly. I want to be reckless. With you, are you sure? Ask me again in the morning. This time, when she kisses me, there's no hesitation, no holding back. She pours everything into it, years of loneliness, months of careful circling, weeks of building tension. I kiss her back with equal fervor, my hands tangling in her hair, holding her to me like she might disappear if I loosen my grip. We break apart gasping, foreheads pressed together, sharing breath and promises and the weight of everything we're risking. Whatever happens, she whispers, whatever they say about us, whatever it costs, this is worth it. You're worth it. So are you. So are we. She takes my hand, leads me toward her bedroom with steps that are sure and steady despite everything we're walking into. At the threshold, she pauses, looks back at me with eyes that hold entire galaxies. No regrets. She asks, none. You. Only that we waited so long. Later, much later, we lie tangled in silk sheets that smell like jasmine and satisfaction. Victoria traces patterns on my chest, her touch feather light and impossibly intimate. The board meeting is tomorrow, she says quietly. I know. They'll want to discuss the Morrison partnership. There will be questions about our professional dynamic. Let them question. She lifts her head, studies my face in the dim light filtering through her curtains. You really meant it, didn't you? About facing it together, every word. Even when your stock price tanks because you're sleeping with the competition. You're not the competition anymore. You're my partner. The smile that spreads across her face could power the entire city. Partners in everything. She settles back against me, her body warm and pliant and perfect. Ethan, thank you. For what? For seeing me. Not the ice queen or the corporate widow or any of the other things they call me. Just me. I press a kiss to the top of her head. Breathe in the scent of her shampoo mixed with our mingled fragrances. Thank you for letting me. Outside, the city continues its eternal dance of ambition and desire, power and vulnerability. Tomorrow, we'll face the consequences of tonight. There will be boardroom battles and tabloid headlines, stockholder revolts and industry gossip. There will be those who call us foolish, reckless, doomed to failure. But tonight, in this moment, with Victoria's heartbeat steady against my ribs and her breath warm on my skin, I know they're wrong. What we found isn't foolish, it's revolutionary. Not reckless, but brave. And far from doomed, it's the beginning of something extraordinary. Sleep, I murmur against her hair. We'll conquer the world tomorrow. Her laugh is muffled against my chest. We might just do that. And as sleep claims us both, wrapped in moonlight and possibility, I believe her. Because together, Victoria Ashworth and I are unstoppable. A force of nature disguised as a love story. A hostile takeover of the heart that somehow managed to benefit everyone involved. The corporate widow has found her king, and tomorrow, the world will learn what happens when two empires unite, not through acquisition or merger, but through something infinitely more powerful, love that refuses to apologize for what it is, what it wants, or what it's willing to risk to survive.